I'm from Chai Vision. I'm here with Ciarain Shanahan. Ciarain, how you doing, my bro?
I'm good.
So, I've been looking forward to this interview for a while, I can't lie. Because when we had it last time, I think Alex did it and I did it. So, obviously, then, whereas we had the interview for Leapfrog, I couldn't really justify doing another one. But I wanted to do this interview because I think there's a lot about you that people don't know. And there's a lot about your character that people don't know that makes you just that little bit more. Like people would have a different level of respect if they knew half the stuff that, let's say, I know,
Yeah,
or the people around you know. So that's the reason why I want to do it. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview.
no problem.
Cool. So I've got some questions, some other questions I'll chuck along the way. But yeah, let's get started. If someone doesn't know you, Kieran, how would you describe yourself?
Bit spontaneous, reckless in ways, but sometimes can be calculated recklessness, you know. But definitely a very loud, outgoing personality that kind of once they have a focus, it's very much that or nothing else, you know. Um, so that's kind of the kind of personality I am.
What do you think it is about yourself that you're so outgoing?
I think it's like how my parents raised me, you know, they're very much like, you know, you can do what you want in life, you know, but there's always the repercussions of life. Like, you know, they're always like you can leave school if you want, if you have a focus, but remember you got rent to pay when you leave school. You ain't just leaving school and doing nothing. So there's always like this feeling of I can do whatever I want. I just got to make sure I've got some boxes ticked along the side, you know, so then I can do that. Um, but that's how I'd say it, like that. And then in terms of, I get hyper focused on a goal. So like obviously what kind of what does me well in fighting. So if I get a fight booked or whatever, kind of everything is towards that date. So I'll do everything I can, both in the camp and then fighting wise, to to be the best version of myself, you know. And then if I want something, it's the same thing. I'll just focus on what I want, and it's just kind of like a steam train trying to get it, you know.
Do you think there's like two versions of you? There's one that's like fight camp version, and then there's one that's generic. Do you think that's the two different personalities that you have?
Oh, 100%. Sometimes I sit down and think, to the movie Split, and there's got the fella that has like 20 odd different personalities. Sometimes, you know, if the last year I've not been fighting, I've been kind of enjoying life, but then being like a bit of a lost cause with it, you know what I mean? So without fighting or without the gym, it's like like that keeps you kind of in a steady position, you know. Whereas if I don't have anything to focus on, that's where I find like I'm getting, I don't know, I'm probably miscommunicating to myself what it is I want to do or what it is I need to, because I'll just kind of do anything, do you know what I mean?
See, like you come across as someone that's very charismatic, right? Regardless of being in camp or not in camp, because you mask it quite well. That's why I was interested to know whether you see the difference, because I've seen you in camp and I've seen you out of camp, and you're the same larger than life personality. You're very
Yeah.
charismatic. Do you think those people that get in contact with you, they only see part of your picture?
Yeah, I think like, you know, if people see me in the gym or people see me at shows, they see me in my happy spot or they see me in like my comfort, you know. And look, if people see me at home, they see me a version as well. But I think like with the shows and with the gym, it's like that's me comfortable. But then like if you see me out and about, I'm still loud and I'm still fun and energetic, but it's just there's a different snap that gets me when people see me at shows. You know, it's like I just love the energy of it all, and that feeds into like I don't know. I suppose that's where I want to be, kind of thing. You know. Um, but now you're catching me at home, sat on my couch, so it's a little bit different. You know. So yeah, I think yeah. Again, everyone's going to perceive you differently at different times of the day or different places in the world, you know. I think like I think the aspect of having something to look forward to or doing something that you're enjoying will keep that view of yourself up. Do you know what I mean? You know, like if you catch me in a bad place at a bad time, like anyone, you know, you can catch them in a weird mood, you know. But I think it's like trying to stay consistent on being in where I want to be. And I think that's where like fighting. If I don't have a fight, I'm like, right, I'm still crazy, I'm still having the crack, but it's not the same version of what the having the crack of being crazy and fighting Kieran is, you know?
Do you put like a hat on, for example? let's say you're in an environment. So obviously you do shows for us and you do the panel and everything, right? And there's a different thing that you want to do when you're on camera. So this is quite chilled, right? But when you're, let's say, hyping up a fight, there's a different personality. Do you adopt a different personality and say, actually, you know what? I'm going to a show. This is what I need to be like. Or I'm at the gym and this is what I need to be like. Do you do that, or does that just come natural to you?
But the gym is like its purest form, you know. You can go to the gym pissed off, or you can go to the gym happy. When you're training, your aim is to, well, there is no aim. You're enjoying what you're doing because you love being there. If it's the right place for you. But when it is a show, like I remember when I first started doing the commentary, I was like, "What the shit? I have to be something. I've got to be like these other commentators. I got to be da 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 da." And I think I don't know who even said it to me. I think it could have been even you. Just be yourself. Just do you. Just say what you want to say. Talk what you want to talk. And then that started building. But then I started getting dissatisfied with what was me. I was like, right, how can I be? People are saying like, you know, you're funny, or your comments are really good. So I'm starting to search for more. Where it's like cruise control on the motorway. When you just keep going at that same cruise speed, you'll get to the destination the same. You'll have less problems. You'll just cruise along. You won't burn as much fuel. Whereas I find that sometimes when I was going into a new avenue of work in the fight game, I was just trying that little bit more. And it's interesting because with fighting, you train to become better. You watch fights and you train harder to become smarter and fitter. When I was doing other aspects of the job, I realized that consistency of just being that natural like personality you are is the key to the job. So it is interesting because it taught me a lot about what I'm trying to put out there for, like while talking or interviewing or whatever, you know. But definitely, I think with the hat thing, I never I never go somewhere trying to be something, because whenever I go to a show, whatever that is me. Do you know what I mean? Like you've seen me at shows. I'll just be have the crack with everyone. I'll talk to all the fighters, go into the changing rooms. Like that's just comfortable for me. But I think definitely the commentary one for me was like, right, there's so many elite commentators out there, and I'd love to be a top commentator one day. So I started trying to think, oh shit, how am I going to be different? You know?
Do you think that kind of gives you like a look inwards? Because what makes you very unique is Ciarain Shanahan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no one sees Ciarain Shanahan and want you to be a Vinnie Showman or somebody else. They want Ciarain Shanahan because you balance it really well. Like when I watch the commentary back, I get the little bit of humor in there now and again, but
Yeah.
the seriousness of the fight too, it's very hard to balance. Either you come with too much humor, not you, but I'm saying like someone can come with too much humor, and it's like they're throwing light on the actual fight and it ruins the fight.
Yeah.
Then you've got someone with yourself that's actually engaged, and you can balance the two. Like it must be to yourself. You must like look at yourself thinking, actually, you know what? All I got to do is be myself, and that's good enough.
Yeah. I think as well, it's the authenticity of why you're there. Like, I love fighting. You know, it's been my life now for what, 14, going on 15 years now. You know, and it's made me. Sound like one of them people. It's made me who I am today because I've met so many amazing characters in it. But like with the humor and the balance, like you have to remember, there's two blokes or two women in there fighting their heart out. So there's like the art of humor, but the art of seriousness, because there is something going on there, you know. And I don't notice it because it's just normal for me, you know. It's normal to be able to combine the two. But I think now, anyway, from having this year of specifically focusing on commentating, I've definitely learned not only just about myself, but about like fighting in general. Like from seeing so many different levels of and like I wasn't commentating on the highest at the highest level. I was commentating on high level for the UK and stuff like that. And it was great to talk about intricate moves and stuff like that I wouldn't have been as confident on before, or that I thought I wouldn't have been. But yeah, it's definitely taught me a lot about not only my personality but my IQ level of the fights as well.
What is it about Muay Thai that pulled you back into it? How kind of keeps you locked in?
It's accountability, you know. When you fuck up, you think about when you're at your top positions, you know. And everyone fucks up in life, but you know there's been you'll have multiple fuck ups. But then when you look back at when you had your hand raised, or not even the hand raised, but just knowing that you've done a solid session, or you know you fist bump your team after a hard session, and if you go off course, that's what haunts you. You know what I mean? Like you know, you can do whatever you want wrong, but when you've been in a sport for a long time and athletes will know this, you'll always refer back to when you're at your top and your not your prime, because I'm not at me prime yet, but like when you're at your like your top level status, you know what I mean? And I think I'll never be able to let go of Thai boxing. And even though like this year I've had a year away from fighting, it's been a year of trying to get back, then not feeling right, trying to get back, not feeling right, and then after a few eye-opening things, you're like, right, it's this is what I'm meant to do. You know, you question like, oh, should I not? But if you're questioning and it's pulling you, there's a reason there, you know. And but yeah, it's always pulling me back. And I had breaks before, but it's definitely when you find yourself on a trajectory, it's definitely harder to pull yourself away from it.
What's the feeling like when you've got a fight in mind, that we've got a fight booked, and you've got two fights, really big fights booked for early next year? What's that change in yourself in terms of the gym and stuff? Because we had this conversation where you talk about you love Muay Thai, and it's clear to see that you love Muay Thai. But you get a little bit of a buzz when you do commentary. You get a little bit of buzz when you do the panel stuff. You get a little bit of buzz when you're doing your stuff around maybe coaching and things like this. But there's something different. It's like you said, there's an itch
Yeah.
about wanting to fight. What's that difference? That's what I'm interested to know.
It's knowing that some fucker wants to kill you. You know what I mean? And like, I like the feeling, because for me, like, I've tried to deny it a lot this year, but I'm a killer and I want to fight as a killer. You know, and I love Muay Thai because you can fight two styles. You can be a killer or you can be a stylistic martial artist. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is that you can flow, you can kick, score, you can. There's so many elements to it that is beautiful for me, but it's that it's that feeling of knowing that, or I'm locked in for this date, and I know that what I do from this point onwards adds to that result. You know, I could have had a dodgy year, I could have had a great year, but whatever, from the minute that fight has been signed and sealed, all that's left now is the delivery. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that's what I love the most, is knowing that. And especially the two ones that I'm coming up with now, you know, my next one is the comeback one. You know, it's been a while since I fought last, and it's like there's a lot of expectations from myself. You know what I mean? Like how I walk out, go through them ropes, justifies who I am as my own self. It doesn't mean I owe anything to anyone, but for me, and in this world, that performance, whether I win, lose, or draw, doesn't matter. It's about how I step over them ropes, and it's what I do. It's the job that I put on. You know what I mean? We're in there to put a job on, and I say this is my life. And going in there a new and improved, more experienced kind of IQ level martial artist now would be the teller, and that's what's driving me, especially for this one. Before it was just the itch to want to go in and smash people. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you win and you stop your first person, you stop your second, you cut your next. It's like you're like a lion, you know, you're like a lion getting its next meal. It's like, fuck, how can I get this harder? How can I tear its head off? And there comes a point where you learn that it's not just about the result, it's about how you get that result, how you win, you know? So yeah, so especially for now, this one, that itch, that urge is knowing that I need to go out there and not only put a performance on, but showing out that what I've learned and what I can do to these lads.
Do you feel like each fight is a reflection of where you are as a person as well? So like for example, you just gave an example there. Maybe a year or two ago, it was very much the lion. Just give me the next prey. Let me go for the next prey. And that's where you were. And then prior to that, maybe early on, there was a different version of you. Should you feel like every time you have a fight, there's a story in yourself for each one?
Massively. I mean, my last fight, I got slept in 40 seconds, you know what I mean? 30 seconds, and I never ever thought I'd get knocked out. And that was through recklessness as well. Like, you know, I had to pull out. It was a big fight. We were main event of the show. He pulled out 3 weeks to the fight, and you know, I was like, no, do you know what? Fuck this guy. I can batter him. Doesn't matter. So I'm knocking everyone out at the minute. I'm fucking Ciarain Shanahan. Do you know what I mean? Like, who's gonna touch me? And it's a great mentality to be in. It's a great place to be in. But what it taught me was the height of ignorance. You know what I mean? All I've wanted is big fights and fights with people, and I don't care how it rubs them up. I want to fight them because we're here to fight. We're in the game to fight and put on a show. It's nothing personal. But when I got knocked out, Jesus Christ. It was like it was like everything I had achieved, fuck off, all gone by. Do you know what I mean? You're nothing anymore, you know? And it's mad, like, because that's kind of how, from that point and then this year, that's what it's kind of been like. It's been like walking into the gym as a beginner again. That's how I've been going into the gym. That's why it's been hard to get back into fighting, because I felt like I've got so much more to learn. But then it was great because when these fight opportunities came up, and these two especially, like I've had offers throughout the year, had a couple of little niggly injuries that were actual injuries, which didn't help with the kind of mental side of things, because you're trying to come back into it, but you're like, oh, what's it worth? Fuck it, this is sore, that's sore, da da da. But I think like each fight makes you or breaks you, teaches you. But the last one broke me. The year has taught me, and now I need to get back into that. Right, this is who you are. Do you know what I mean? I've been through that. Is this who I am thing after that fight? But yeah, so I think like, especially for now, that last fight taught me a lot, and it's been a good roller coaster. And everyone comes back different from knockouts, you know. I just have this envision of Badr Hari always when he got slept, and he was all scrawny and that. Now look, I'm not in the juice, so I'm not going to be massive. Do you know what I mean? I'm still going to be fighting at the same weight, but he came back just bigger, stronger, and just an animal. You know, and I think like that's it takes everyone different times. So I've been looking at a lot of people that have been through that same scenario and seeing how they bounce back and just seeing their aroma of personality, you know.
Do you think you're maybe a little bit hard on yourself?
Oh, definitely I am. You know, it is, and I like it as well. I like it, but it's heavy. Like I don't think like people say they're hard on themselves, but it's like the person when they're training. Do you cry? Do you mourn? Or you just get on with it? Like if I train, I'm sure I say nothing. I might shout, but I'll go till I break something, you know. And like people say they do, they really say they do, but they don't. You know, and it's like I've done many challenges in my life besides fighting. I've done ultra marathons, marathons with fucked up knees, da 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 da. Like not many people know about them, but I remember in lockdown I just woke up random days and just done a marathon. I just done an ultra marathon because I needed that pain, you know. And like with fighting now, and like success drove me in the fighting. I wanted my hand like this, like everyone. But since the last one, I just want passion in the fight. I just want to know that I'm doing what we've drilled in the gym. I'm not looking at the knockout reel anymore. Like when you chase that and you start getting a bit ignorant to it, you know, that you can just knock out anyone. There's always going to be someone tougher and bigger and badder than you. But the key is how can you be more like mentally durable throughout the rounds, you know? Which I love Muay Thai in that sense, because you can have a shit 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, but have an amazing fifth round, you know. So yeah, I'm very hard on myself, very, and this year has been a massive tail on it. You know what I mean? But hey, we keep drinking our coffee, keep training, and we just work back to developing that product again. You know.
What has Muay Thai given you? This is not just right now. This is more of like throughout your years, right? What has Muay Thai given you that maybe other parts of your life haven't?
Muay Thai's always given me like a high level of hope when stuff isn't going right, you know, because like just say you might not earn a good paycheck 1 month, and trust me, Muay Thai could be a tough one to earn a paycheck. But like the people you meet in it, so like you could be training people of many different walks of life, you could be coaching someone with many different walks of life, and the stories you hear and the kind of direction in perception you get is insane. Like, you know, so you could be having like a bad day or whatever as a coach or as a fighter, and you train with someone, and like you can be, oh, what's this all work? One training session, 10 minutes with someone, and that can completely change your whole perception of something, you know. So that's what it's given to me. Like obviously, it's given me many great friendships, relationships. You know, I've met people from all around the world, which is insane. But I think that's it. It's hope, like, you know. So when life gets a bit meh, a bit flat, you get some bad news after bad news. You go to the gym. You know, obviously it's handy if you know a bit of Muay Thai. You can go hit the bag. You can do a session for yourself, and it sounds like the typical answer, like, you know, oh, Muay Thai saves your life. It's not that kind of thing. It's there's something next to come, you know. And for me, like when fighting stopped, I had commentary, and I was like, oh my god, like this is wicked. I'm not fighting. I'm getting paid. You know, I'm not getting punched in the face, and it could be 100 quid. Doesn't matter what it is. It's the fact that you're going into a venue or you're going into a group of people, and there's an incentive. There's a passion behind it. And I learned that fighting isn't the be all and end all, you know, because obviously one day I will stop fighting, and I hope I've got a very prosperous career outside of fighting after that, you know. But yeah, I think from this year, hope has been my thing, because when I got knocked out, I was like, oh shite, am I even built for this? You know what I mean? It's like, am I built for fighting? Forgetting about all the fights that I've done in the past and the wars I've had with great people and losses that I've had before. But yeah, that's the one for me, I think.
Do you think Muay Thai lets you express your true self?
Nah, definitely I've got more to express than from Muay Thai. My mother always said I should be on Big Brother. Now I don't really want to be on that because I think it just looks a bit funny being on it. But like I've always wanted to be an entertainer. Now whether that be acting or I can't dance, but dancing, like just for me, like singing, just anything entertaining wise for me is perfect. You know, I done theatre when I was younger. I done Oliver Twist and Les Miserables, and didn't have main roles. You know, Oliver Twist. I was what's his name? His name was Charlie Bates or something like that. And like the one line he had was, "These sausages are mouldy." And I remember when I said that line, my mother shot up in the crowd. You know, like I won a world title, and that was my only line. But like with fighting or with who I am, Jesus, fighting only shows a fucking fraction of who I am, and I know that. Do you know what I mean? But I'm happy with that because fighting is like an accountability thing. You know what I mean? You go to the gym, you put in the effort, you have the respect for your coach, your teammates. It's not just laddie daddy shit. You know what I mean? You're training with killers that you know that anything can happen in a fight or training. But yeah, definitely, I've got a lot more to give, man. Jesus.
So there's a fight part of it, but then there's the whole everything around Muay Thai. So for example, like even like your promo stuff that you do for like the FedEx stuff, when you do the thing where you go to the warehouse,
Fight supplies.
fight supplies, that's it,
Yeah.
fight supplies. Even that, like I watch that, I find that so entertaining to watch. So my point is because we look at Muay Thai in one dimension, right? As it's just you go in there, you fight, you fight, you fight. We look at it just as the fight part, but there's so many different parts of it. So
Yeah.
there's the PTs that you do, maybe the classes that you teach, and then there's stuff like fight supplies and things like this that you do that kind of channels a different vibe of you. Do you know what I mean? Because you remember when we were doing the first LFN media day and you came down, there was that kid, and he was like, he come up to me and he
Yeah,
goes,
yeah.
"Do you think he could sign a picture for me?"
Yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know what?
That was pretty mad, like, you know.
I sat there and I
That
thought
was
to
cool.
myself about this, right? And I go to myself, and this is where I think you have to take credit for who you are. Is at the current moment, there aren't stars in Muay Thai. So you have a couple like your Haggertys and your Harrisons, but there isn't a star in Muay Thai. So when you have that, that's not Muay Thai, that's you and your personality that's attracted that kid to want to get that signature.
Yeah,
It's not like Ciarain Shanahan's a Muay Thai superstar. It's because it's Ciarain Shanahan.
yeah.
That's what I got out of that, and I thought as a reflection of you. And I was interested to know if you could get that part of you out there into the world, because you must be to be having that type of impact.
I know that I've always had this saying in my life. It probably is quite immature, but I'll either die rich or poor, and rich or poor can be financially or non-financially, but it mainly be through like the connection you have with people. That's richness. You know what I mean? Like when you walk into a room, and it's not about being like the number one person there, but like being a person that gives people a kick up the arse. You know what I mean? I think that's why I love going into gyms or with shows, going into the changing room. Because it's not that I want to hype people up, but I want to give people like incentive. Like, oh my God, yeah, there's nothing to worry about. They're like, this is, and I see all these stars, like these stars in Muay Thai boxing. They're all great, but they all like are like they all kind of sound the same. It's all about motivation, training hard, da 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 da. I'm just a loose fucker with a passion. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't like. I just love living. Like you could tell me, right, we're gonna go fucking hike a mountain street. I'll do that. We're going to go play a hurling match. If you don't know hurling, look it up. It's a great sport from Ireland. We're going to go for a few kicks. Anything that's emotive, I'm up for, and I'll give it 110%. And then that's why, like, the entertainment side, fighting is like a way that I entertain through an art I've developed. However, with doing stuff like, I love seeing the rawest and purest form come out of people. Like, especially like when I was holding pads at the media days, I was a pad man. I was a pad man for all these lads. They were the fighters, do you know? And that's what I like. When I'm commentating on a show, I'm the commentator. They're the fighters. You know, it's like fighters, when I start commentating, they come going, oh, I love watching you fight, da, da, da. And I'm like, listen, this is you today. I love seeing you fight. Do you know what I mean? This isn't about anyone else but yourself. And like when I was doing the padman, just hearing their thoughts and their feelings towards the fight as a padman was so much, like, it's just different. I wasn't talking to him as a fighter, you know. I was talking to him as like, not like a coach, because I'm not a top end coach. I'm a padman that can coach a little bit, you know. I'm a fighter that can pad, that can coach a little bit, you know. I'm not at that level yet where I'm at like the Andy Newells of the game, you know, or any of them. I'm not at that level. I'm nowhere near that level. Jesus, that takes a long time. But yeah, I think for that especially, I think like learning like different parts of you, like we've all got so many unique talents, but we always, like, especially people that live normal, ordinary jobs, they just categorize themselves to one. We've got so many different talents that we can do. It's just about embracing them and trying to do them.
When you look over your fight career, what stands out the most to you since your fight career?
I'll always say it, like, I mean, winning the WBC in York Hall was pretty cool. You know, I mean, that was pretty cool. Fought my brother Rian Wong, great lad. You know, really great guy, doing great things in boxing right now. Then again, fighting York Hall against Dan Bonner, who's current UK number one, been number one for a long time. We had a very close fight. I lost that one on a split decision, but it was a great fight. You know, there's so many things. I learned a lot about myself and my position in life on that fight. And that took me on to my next position where I knew I had to make changes. The 4 ounce fights, kind of feeling the bittersweet symphony of the 4 ounce game, but being at the top of it and at the bottom pile of it. But I think definitely, like, I have this, there's this passion for me with York Hall. York Hall is like no other venue. I feel like, you know, I just, it's you walk, it's old and there's people around you. And I remember like people are on the banisters at the ledge and they can nearly touch you. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of feeling, you know. And obviously winning a world title with the KGP on Muay Thai Grand Prix was pretty cool. But I think right now the biggest highlight of it now in my life is coming back into it, because I've learned that there's a lot more to it. It's not about anyone else. It's purely and only about me. It's all what I can do. You know what I mean? And that's the highlight now. So I'm learning as it's like the next stage of my maturity. And now, if you say this to my family or my missus, they're like, "Fuck, mature? What the fuck are you on about?" But it's like I'm going into it now. And I've learned so much over the 14 years, but over the last year, I've learned more. You know what I mean? I've learned about the art, I've learned about my own self, and it's like, right, this is the highlight now, because I look forward to seeing how I fight in March, you know? It'll be interesting.
How would you describe yourself as a fighter?
Old version, quite erratic, crazy, very like entertaining, you know? Whereas now everything's a lot more calculated now. Like I read things a lot different. Like, even in training, I'm thinking about stuff I'm doing more, you know. Whereas before, I was like, I train. I want to be the best in the gym. Like, I want to be number one at all the challenges. I want to be the strongest at lifting all the weights. I want to be the fastest at doing all the kicks, and that's great. But what I learned was that being competitive was my drug. And it's a fucking hard drug to get rid of. Like, it's so bad because you don't think about how you get there. You just think about getting there. You're just thinking about, I am going to kill myself to get there. You know, I'm going to do, like, I'm going to do everything I can to beat you. You're my training partner. And like, that's where I had this thing in my classes where when you do like 10 press ups, 10 sit ups, 10 squats in between the rounds, I'm like, you have to beat your partner. This is your competition. And it's good to have that. But it was my detriment because then in fights, as I was getting better in my fights, it was getting a little bit more reckless. I was trying to hurt more and more through like being more physical rather than sabai. Read the game, have a better understanding. So that's what I'd say I am now, but obviously I've got to go out there in March and show that version of me. But I know I will. And there's a lot of, I hate to say, oh, wait till March, you're going to see. It's not that. It'd just be nice to see the new upgraded version of me and then to come back and mix around again with the top lads again and get back to that WBC belt that I've been dreaming of since I started, I want that WBC world title. Whoever the fuck has it, I don't care. 85 kilos, whoever. Just want to get that belt. Have it for a little while, then, do that with all my £5 notes from Muay Thai.
Looking back, which fight challenged you the most? Not just physically and mentally. Which was the fight that challenged you the most?
My last one, jeez, yeah, against Ciarain. Because as I said, I had to pull out, I was supposed to fight Sikwa, and that was the way it was scheduled to go. So I was very focused on that fight, I was very focused on him and everything was very focused, and it was my first like major pullout, you know what I mean? Like as in like 3 weeks to the fight, sold a lot of tickets. And my dad always taught me one thing. He was like, don't take a fight for money. And I needed the money. I really did. And I was like, I need the money. It's a shit time of the year. And literally after that, I came out of that fight with 3 grand. I woke up the next morning with 20 quid in my pocket because I had to move into a house the next day, put deposit down, I had to buy a car that I needed to get. And shit, man, that tested every single ounce of me, physically, emotionally, internally. And so many people can tell you you're good, you'll be back, but that was my hardest battle because then, like on that last 3 weeks, I didn't know anything about this lad. I didn't look up anything about him. I watched one video of him and he knocked out a guy with the same shit he knocked me out. So after it, I was like, you motherfucker. I was like, you fucking watched that. You watched it and you ignored it. So it was good. It was a great lesson. I mean, I'm saying it now, but I mean, it was a great lesson. You either learn it the hard way or you learn it the extra hard way. And I learned it the extra hard way, fucking oxygen tank in the ring shit, you know what I mean? But yeah, that was definitely my hardest. I've had wars with people and, build-ups to fights, and when promos are coming out, like all that stuff doesn't really get me nervous. I feel more comfortable in front of a camera than I do, I'd say, most people. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't really bother me. But yeah, that was definitely the most testing one because like the build-up in the sense of not knowing, and then when we had the stare down, I was like, oh shit, this lad's keen, and so am I. Like I was like, I'm keen, like. And every inhibition of having a great fight went out of my head. I was like, right, one of us is going to die and I don't give a shit who it is. It's either you or me. And it was me. So that was the toughest.
Like the 4-ounce gloves is a bit of like a game of chance as well. It's a lot of, you see how when you talked about the WBC fights with, Bonner and stuff like that, it's very technical. You're thinking about the moves and stuff like that. Whereas the 4-ounce gloves, there's only one gear. You just go out.
Yeah.
Who gets put down first?
Well, like you see it though. You see elite Thai boxers that have been stadium champions or WBC world champions get absolutely demoted in 4-ounce gloves, And I think 4 ounce is such a great. It's a great fight style now because it is raw fighting, but it's almost these top end fighters are getting too compared by it now. Like, oh, if you don't knock lads out or stop lads in these 4-ounce gloves, or if you get stopped, you're now not as popular as a fighter. But look, sex sells. The 4-ounce is the sex version of Muay Thai now. It's the one that is everyone's watching. You know what I mean? It's the killer one. It's bloody. It's all that stuff. It's great, and trust me, my passion for it has not gone down. But my love for 10-ounce, obviously 10-ounce is what I would be fighting in at my weight, has gone up because it's the art of the game. You know what I mean? And it's like, I will fight 4-ounce again. I will. But I definitely am looking forward to going back into the 10 ounces to feel that art form again, the kick score and the exchanges, the clinch. Because obviously with 4 ounce now, the clinch is a lot less as well. So I don't think it's doing anything damaging to the sport personally. Bar, it's showing a lot of top end fighters kind of get found out in ways they don't need to be. Do you know what I mean? Like they're legends at 10 ounce gloves or 8 ounce gloves or whatever they are. The 4 ounce is just a grit of like, right, who lands first, who's got the best gas tank for them 3 or 5 rounds. But there is an art form to it as well. Like, 4 ounces, you can't be getting punched in the head, so you gotta have great head movement. So it's like Muay Thai with boxing head movement, do you know what I mean? Just don't get kicked in the head as well. There's a lot of factors to it.
And you were at your lowest point after that fight. Like you said, you poor paid for everything and you got £20 left. It's a different kind of fight now for you to get back to where you need to go to. How did you get back to where you were now? Who was there for you to kind of support yourself? Because you're very much there for everyone, but who's there for you at that moment in time?
I mean, Mrs. Bless her, I put her through a big bit of pain this year. Do you know what I mean? Like, not only just through different things, but more myself. Like, you know, it's tough because there's no one to blame. You know what I mean? The toughest pill to swallow is it yourself. You got knocked out. You fucked it. You know what I mean? And that people were there for me, and certain people, that it teaches you a lot about people because when you're there and you're winning belts and you've got loads of likes on posts and views and da 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 da, and then when you end up with your chin on the floor, you learn really about fucking humans. You know what I mean? But then it's dangerous because then you chase it in another way. Like I probably partied the most I have this year than I've ever done. But like don't get me wrong, I like a lot of music, but I noticed it was getting to an excessive amount. And it was like, right, this is something that's making me feel good, but I'm not so good after. 'Cause it's not what's my path. You know what I mean? It's not my passion. So yeah, bless her. My missus has been there for me, through thick and thin, and there's been a lot of thickness go on with kind of. I think like the people talk about mental health, but it was the mental health. Yeah, I wouldn't ever do anything stupid to myself. Do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say that I'm gonna jump off a bridge or fucking kill myself. None of that stuff. But it was what I was doing to myself mentally and like just not really being focused. And because you try and think of being focused, but all you think about is you fucked it up. So you're like, shit, right. But yeah, definitely, my missus was there for me.
Good, good. Because you have this danger in it where when something negative happens, you start spiraling, and then you look at everything in the negative stuff, and you
Yeah.
sometimes need that person there to just say, you know what, bro, it's all right. That we can get back to this, and you're back right now.
Yeah.
Who's been your toughest opponent who you faced so far, and what's made them difficult? Just general.
I think like obviously kind of moving away from the last fight, it was tough. I was just like a scrap for fucking a minute, so it wasn't really that much to compare on. But I think my toughest opponent was Dan Bonner because he was a tricky individual, and I just tried to smash him. I tried to just like go at a hard fight with him. Do you know what I mean? I think now, like, if it was different, I can't make that weight anymore. Like, I can't make 79. I would have loved to have danced with him again. But I think, like, for that fight, for me, it's great. It stays where it is. It taught me so much about what I need to fix up on. You know what I mean? And that was my toughest in the sense of technique, you know, teaching me on what direction my style needs to go towards, my headspace for fighting 5 rounds like that. So I'd say that was definitely my toughest. Yeah, 100%. Because other one, thing is, I have a thing where I smile every fight. That was one fight I didn't smile because you're such a tricky fucker in there. Do you know what I mean? And like it caused me a lot of confusion, and so that was definitely my toughest.
What's the fight that you surprised yourself? You know how like sometimes there's things that you work on, the things that you want to do, and it just clicks, and you think, "Fuck yes." Was there a fight like that?
Yeah, like I fought Ali McPherson in the 4 ounce gloves. That was great. Fought Rion in them 10-ounce boxing gloves. That was great. Like, what's great is when for me, my trick is, I just got to be happy and I'll put on a performance in a lifetime. When you start thinking about wanting to kill people, that for me doesn't really work, So I think all of my performances around the Bonner and my last fight have always been like that. Do you know what I mean? They've always clicked and been great, Because I enjoy it. I enjoy the energy of the crowd. I enjoy the skipping me feet like a little happy leprechaun going out to the ring, like playing Irish music, techno music. I love all of that. Gets me going. So every fight around them two fights have been exactly like that.
I'm interested to know, was there a fight where there was like a shift in mindset? And I'll tell you what I mean is when you start out, you're starting out and it's just about the fight in front of you, like your N class, E class, you don't have the fight in front of you. But it becomes the one fight where you think, actually, you know what? I can go quite far with this. I can achieve that crazy stream. Was there a fight where you just at the end of it thought, actually, you know what? I belong here. This is what I want to do.
Yeah. So which one was I? It was when I went to my first A class. So I'd always fought kickboxing, K1. I done full contact. When I first started martial arts, and if full contact is you wear trousers, American full contact. You do kicks above the waist, no low kicks, and it's all box. So boxing and kicks above the waist. So I've been doing that, and I moved over to the UK, and I done a couple of C class, B class. Then I went to K1, so I didn't want to clinch. I couldn't stand clinching. And I remember I was finding out the Knowlesy Academy at this time, and Chris would always say, clinching. I'm like, well, I'm K1, I'm not staying. I just didn't want to clinch. And then I remember I got offered to fight Dale Kingston on the Diamond Fight show. No, I didn't get offered to fight it. I had thrown an elbow on pads when I was training, and I said, I want to do Thai boxing. I want to do an A-class fight. And then me and Dale got matched, and Dale was number 7 in the 79 kilo rankings or something like that. I was just like, yeah, sound whoever. Fuck, I don't really care, like whoever. And we had a 5-round boogie and a half. Oh, Jesus Christ. We went at each other. Oh my God. And then the little fucker in the last round kneed me in the stomach. And it felt like I got stabbed. Oh my God. I had to go down and hold myself for a second. And then I went up and I tried to smash him for the last minute, and the annoying part is that, I spoke to some of the judges. Like, he won it fair and square. But it was a split decision. And, I think anyway, but one of the judges was like, if you hadn't got caught with that knee, you would have won. And I was like, oh, you dirty fucker. I was like, why? Why? Jesus. But that was the highlight for me. So I was like, oh, well, he's been doing this a long time. I've not been doing Thai boxing a long time. And then it just kind of took me on that passion. I'm like, oh, shit, all right, let's go. But that was the highlight for me when I went to Thai boxing and realized I could do Thai boxing.
Is there a fight that means a lot to you, but you don't think gets enough attention? Like,
So I fought Joachim Haag in the 4-ounce gloves, and he's now ISK world champion. And Joachim's lovely. I love him to bits. He's a great lad. But we had a fight, and I really had a successful fight that fight. I done a lot of damage that fight. And he's fought everyone. He's fought, oh my God, how am I forgetting his name? Reagan Ursel. He fought Reagan. I trained at Reagan recently, and he fought him on Lion Fight for the Lion Fight World title. And, like little things like Reagan stopped him in round 4, I think. Obviously, he was with boxing gloves on, I wasn't with 4-ounce gloves. But like little things like that, like he's fought with the best lads in the world. And like we had a fight, it would have been a couple of years after he fought Reagan, and to know that he's been in there with people like that, and we had a fight like that, and it was a good fight for me anyway, like that kind of like, but recognition wise, I've never, I think people might get a bit misunderstood though about me as well. I love fighting, but the recognition is just part of the journey, but I just love the aura of just going in there, having it out for a few rounds, and then chatting about it after and making mates. What I don't get is when lads don't be friendly after it, because I'm a shit star. Like, I love having a crack, poking the bear. all this stuff. But some lads get personal in this game, and it's quite funny, like, do you know what I mean? Because I think, fuck me, you're probably thinking about me when you're at home, going, oh, that little bastard. I'm just fucking putting on a bag of popcorn watching a movie. I'm definitely not thinking about you, you know? So it's, yeah, I think like when your passion is just having a crack in the game, you don't really worry about it, you know. But that for me is the fight that I feel like is I feel like people I don't feel like people recognize it much.
When you have a tough fight, so you mentioned a few that you had like a bit tough. What are you telling yourself? So you know your self talk. What's that? What's going through your head?
Oh, my shins are battered, man. Jesus, I wish I had ice packs on me all the time. That's the only thing I think about with tough fights. I think like, oh, I know I've got to kick him. I know I've got to kick harder. But thankfully, I've been with JD now for just over 2 years now. My clinch game is unbelievable now, so I look forward to not having to worry about my fucking shins. The other thing, because I was a kickboxer, any tough fight I had, I always kicked me way out of problems. And then it got to a stage where I was like, oh, these are really sore. Like, and I was kicking through the pain, like, you know, these are scoring, but these are really hurting. But that was the toughest part for me, was going back asking the corner, how many rounds you got left? Oh, you got 3 rounds left. I'm like, jeez, my shins are battered right now. You know, they're fucked. Like, I need new shins. Can you do something for me? Like, you know, but yeah, when it comes to like the grit and fights, like my earlier fights, what was I was worried about most? It was like I used to get worried about like just getting punched up, like trying da 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 da, you know, you get do 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 do. That was like what I got worried about. But then once I got into Thai boxing with A class, sweet, come punch me. Just like I'm gonna slice you, I'm gonna do something, you know. But yeah, no, what fucking worries me is my shins. You know what I mean? Like,
You know, I was chatting to an MMA coach, and he was talking about you know like the mentality of it. So when you go into a fight, and he says you every fight does it. So when you get into the ring, you have your trigger that switches you on to fight mode. And he was talking about how some of the mentality that you have to have in it is like either I die or you die, and you have that mentality. How do you switch that on when you go in there? Because you're a big lad, you're fighting big fighters. So when you go with the ropes, what's that trigger like? Because Ciarain, like I've known you now for a while. Ciarain is very caring, very charismatic. You're a funny guy. We know you're fucking dangerous, but you're a funny guy and all of this. How do you switch from that to I'm now gonna fuck shit up?
oh, when I get a whack in the face. Oh, when I get like that's honestly, if you watch the Bonner fight, Rion fight, I remember Rion in that fight, the WBC one, he hit me with a body shot at the end of round one. And then I was like, right, I'm switching this shit up now. I'm kicking the move. I'm dancing my way to the finish now. And then with Bonner, oh my, even though that was a split decision loss, he, he broke my nose in the first round with this punch. And oh my God. Like, I remember when he hit me, I smiled at him, but I smiled at him because I was like, that fucking hurt. And I cannot make that look like it hurt. But then from that, then I just went, boom. Like, I remember spinning back elbowing him and shit like that. I was like, yeah, I'm fucking coming. So like for me, it's like when I get a whack, low kick, nah, body kick, nah, but it's when I get a whack to the chin. So any advice for any fighters that don't want a hard fight me, just don't hit me in the chin. Don't hit me in the chin. Yeah, so yeah, it's when I get punched. Like even with the last fight with Jermaine, like when we were having it out, like I remember we punched, he hit me in the start. I was like, whoa, fuck, I'm concussed straight away. Like he hit me with the biggest hand, and I was like, wow, okay, then bam, 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 you know. And like it's one of them. It's like, do you know what people say about seeing red? Like it's never hit me before, but that fight it did. Like the last one, I was like, fuck, I see him red. I'm just gonna try and swing at whatever. Could have been poor referee in front of me. I was just trying to go for something. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, instead when I get whacked, you know. But then if I don't get whacked, it naturally comes on anyway because I realize I'm in a fight. I've got to kick, move, score, you know, slice, get some damage going. But what really switches me on quick is getting punched in the face. I kind of think like, fuck you, that hurt.
How do you deal with pressure, Ciarain?
Pressure's for tires.
Yeah.
That's it.
So when you've got a big fight coming, let's say you got March and April,
Yeah.
you just gain one.
Game on. You're in there to do it. You're in there. No, you're in there to do a job, but you're in there to do what you love. You know what I mean? You've done it every day in the gym. You know, you're obviously going to be nervous. There's nervous energy comes. I ain't trying to sound like I don't get nervous. I do. And if anyone tells you they don't, well then they probably do. They're just being nervous to say that they do. You know, like it's nervousness is great, but that's your nerves is your passion that you want to show. You want to expose your passion. You just don't want to do it bad. You know, so for me, I always tell myself pressures for tires, you know. So once you know you've left no stone unturned in the gym, pressures are relevant. I mean, who are you there to please? Obviously, you're there to please the crowd you brought and the tickets you sold, but you can't think like that because then that's reinforced pressure because you're like, I've got to do something special. You don't. Go in there, touch gloves, move, go at the flow, and then what will be you'll bring your story in the fight, you know. I think especially what I see now with a lot of like new fighters coming into the game because of social media, they all want to look like this fucking prim and proper type of fighter. You know, I think like the art of having these dog rough fights or, you know, eye opening fights or whatever, just take every round as it comes, but make sure that you're doing what you're doing in the gym. You know, there's no good in doing what you're doing in the gym and then come out and do fucking arse backwards, you know? So yeah, pressures for tires.
Yeah, good. I was watching this video and they were interviewing Olympians. So these guys have got like multiple gold medals and stuff like that, and they asked them the same question: How do you deal with pressure? And their answer was very similar to you. Was the feelings that you get when you're under pressure is the same feeling you get when you're excited in terms of your body, but you mentally tell it what it is. So if you tell your body this is me doing what I fucking love,
Yeah.
your body acknowledges it like that, and you don't feel the pressure.
Yeah.
But if you turn around to you and you start saying, "Oh fucking hell, this can go wrong," then you actually don't perform as well. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, when you maybe we kind of answered this one. When you've got a lot going on and you feel a bit overwhelmed, what do you do to center yourself and keep yourself focused? So, for example, maybe like even after that defeat, there's a lot of stuff going in your head. What do you do to just keep yourself back on track, get yourself back on track, and focus onto where your journey is going and what you want to achieve in your life?
Rightfully a training session, but majority of the time going to a good rave, having a good two-step boogie, you know. I think getting to the gym, whether it's training or coaching, like that from like the gym is the place. If you're a martial artist or if you're an athlete and you need something to redirect you, it's the gym. You know, train on a hard Monday lunch class where it's clinch rounds only. You know you've been a bit off course, get out clinched by Mike Clark, and that'll put you back on track pretty quick. You know what I mean? Because you got two options: you either go away for another few weeks and need to fuck harder, or you fix up and train a bit more that week and make sure you're stronger the next. So it's just simple answer. Get back to the gym. You know, whether it's through coaching or training yourself, you know.
How much influence have the people around you had on you as a person and as a fighter?
Loads, and a lot of bad influence too, you know, like it's 50-50 because, you know, you can, you know, there were 4 or 5 years that when I came back into fighting when I was 21, I had a lot of great influence around me, and then you notice the bad influence around you and you get rid of that and you get good influence again, and you know you go so well for a while and then you do so well until something bad happens and you get the bad influence coming back in again. So it's always a balance, you know, but it's about being ruthless, and you have to sometimes just say like fuck off when you need to the bad influence and not be worried about it. You know, I had this conversation recently with a friend that was worried about the friendships they were losing, and I was just thinking like, you know, it's gonna happen. You know, you gotta kind of be ruthless. If it's not benefiting your day to day, well then you just gotta cut it really, you know. And if they think it's rootless, the only thing that's rootless is when you realize you've wasted an extra day, month, year, whatever you've wasted on particular bad influences, you know. So the influence I've had around me, especially coming back into training now for this fight or these fights, has been really good. But it's still just finding finding the bad influence and making sure that you're not saying they stay away because you got to be in charge of that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've had a lot of good influence though, thankfully.
Who's the good influence around you right now preparing for this fight?
You know, my very close mates, you know, Tom and Gray, they keep like they're outside of fighting. They have nothing to do with fighting. They you know they just kind of keep me. They kind of just question me. You know what I mean? If I'm ever doing something a little bit wrong, or if I'm just not focused a bit. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause that's your boys. You know what I mean? Like you need your boys. Um, and yeah, the lads at the gym, of course. You know, but that's what we're there for at the gym. We're there to push and help strive each other. Um, but yeah, they've been good influences to me, and they've shown me a lot as well. Like you know, because they work very hard in their life and what they do, and you know, you can work very hard but slip a few times. But seeing them and being accountable for their stuff just influences me. Then you know.
Do you think the people around you underestimate the stuff that you carry inside?
Yeah, I don't think because I don't like I say that all I feel like I've done this year is fucking moan, but like I don't ever like to show emotion. Do you know what I mean? I like to keep it nothing's a problem, but then I realize that's not a good thing to do. When nothing's a problem, everything's a problem, you know, and like do you know what it is? I've always wanted to be an action man. I've always wanted to be a gladiator. That's an entertaining gladiator, you know. And with them, you gotta be strong. But this year, I found that I was just circling my own problems a lot, and then that slowly started getting onto other people's lives because Ciarain wasn't being Ciarain. He was just kind of hanging in there, you know. Um, I didn't find God. I just refound Muay Thai, you know, and that was what understood me, you know. Because at the end of the day, look, you can talk to people, you can ask for help, but people have their own shit, you know. They're just going to give you advice on what's happening in their own life, really, you know. And it's like, I get talking is good and da 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 da, but you got to do something that's going to fuck you up. Do something that's going to put you on your arse, and you'll understand what you need to do. You're either smoking too much, drinking too much, doing too much, or whatever. If you go to the gym and train, you realize you're fucked after 30 seconds, then that's your problem. You know, that's fucking free. Well, actually, you can get a membership at JD, no problem, but that's not free. But you know that's what from people not knowing what goes on. I feel like you know you can talk to people or whatever, but find something you love, you know, and get at it, you know, and try it. You know, it just took me a year to really get back at it, you know.
I was watching this video and this lady was saying about how men do this. Men do this, right? Where they carry other people's problems. So when you're interacting with people, I think I've done it to you as well. Where I have a little morning session because you're that kind of a person, and then I become conscious afterwards. So what happens is men are famous for this, and they'll do it for their spouses and their partners or whatever, and the people around them. And coaches are guilty of this too, where you're that kind of a personality. You're very friendly. You're an easy person to talk to. Where people start floating about all the shit that goes on in their life and all the problems, and you're carrying it. And part of you in your head, you think to yourself, like, I got shit going on too.
It's mad.
No, you're never gonna ask me, but I'll carry your problems, take that little bit of pressure and that little tension off of you. And it's interesting because I feel that that's you. You carry a lot of stuff for people, and then that's a bit of a burden too. But you you got to get to a point where you formulate your own coping strategies, and I think you're starting to get that right.
I am, you know, slowly. I realized I'd stopped talking to people when I started having dreams about them. I was like, shit, I'm dreaming about your fucking problems now. Like, that shit is sad. Do you know what I mean? You are affecting my sleep. I'm not even dreaming about having a Ferrari. I'm not dreaming about having a mansion. No, I'm dreaming about fucking bullshit that isn't even on my plate. Um, but yeah, definitely. I think, but people find a comfort, you know. But I think the art of saying no, people need to be strong by because, you know, everything about this world is about be kind, be gracious, be this, be that. But a lot of the time when you're over kind, over gracious, and over giving, you get fucked up on anyway. So it's like, why? But then people go, oh my God, but then if you go the other way, you're rude or disrespectful or whatever. But you've got to protect your own peace and your own energy. And your circle is key. And I was always preaching this over the last few years. But once I realized there was a bump in my road, I started not tear. My circle never got teared apart, but I started welcoming in the wrong people into my circle because I thought these people would listen to me when they weren't. It was something to benefit them in other ways, whether it can be anything, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's like I'm a big advocate for be careful who you talk to because not everyone you talk to is going to want to listen. But more importantly, just like don't let the little cysts come in, like cysts that go under your skin. You let cysts in, you're gonna have to get surgery on them and get them away. And some of these people are cysts.
So come March, you're fighting on the WSS show. You're fighting a German opponent. Seeing the guy fight, it's like a robot. He will come in, he doesn't get phased, he's gonna fight you. Um, how do you prepare for someone like that? And is that a challenge that excites you? And what is it about that excites you?
But I had no idea how he fights until now. Cheers. Yeah, it excites me, but again, it excites me because I'm looking forward to seeing what I can bring to the table, and like I wish him all the best in camp. If he does come to scrap, it's going to be a great fight. You know what I mean? Like I love to stand in there and have a tear up. So, but yeah, it excites me. But I'm excited just in a different level, in a different wave. Like I was saying to you in the car earlier, every session I gain a percentage more of excitement for the fight game again. It's like when I first took the fight, it was like a balance of, oh yeah, shit, am I ready to be back in this? Yeah. And like, I feel it's not a weakness because you're like, you have that amount of that 50% there, you've got to earn that next 50%. Whether you're 100% focused on the fight, you got to earn that extra 50% through training, putting in the graft. I know that I want to be in there and put on a show. It's like now it's the excitement of getting the weight back down, focusing on the diet, and being accountable on every level. So I'm just looking forward to getting in there and putting the show on, especially against someone that's going to bring a good fight as well,
Do you think the excitement for the fight is not so much against the opponent, but more about you're excited about the version of you that's going to come out in that fight? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think the term you versus you is the most highlighted term that I'm looking at for this. Any fight from now on, it's never you versus the opponents. It's you and what you can do in that fight. You will put yourself in the situations that you'll put yourself in, and then you'll get yourself out of them, or you'll run the pace. You'll be, it's like having that third person view on the back of you. So I feel like I have when I train and like when I spar. Now it's like having this third person behind me that's visualizing stuff before I've made the judgment, rather than just kind of trying to do too much.
My last question to you, Ciarain, is you've been on quite a journey, ups, downs, inside the ring, outside the ring. You've had the low points, the high points, and everything in the middle. When you look back, not just on your fight career, you as a person, are you proud of yourself?
I am, but I've got more to be proud of in the future. I'm not yet. There's more to be achieved, and I think like for me, I am proud, but then the comparison is the thief of joy, and this year has been a lot of comparison. So I am proud of stuff I've achieved, but I'm not proud fully of. There's more that I know that I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but it will come. And rather than trying to think, oh, it's not there yet, it's just like, okay, it's not there yet, but be proud of yourself now and you've overcome this level of understanding and you get to there. So I think that's where the heaviness and like kind of being a critique of myself is very high, and look, I could die trying to get it, but at least I died trying to get it. So that's for me is yeah, I just want to know that I gave it socks, and that I did get what I wanted out of it. And again, it's not about being financially rich. So being rich or poor, it's rich in experience or poor in giving up, you know.
Ciarain, thank you. Thank you for this interview.
Thank you. It was awesome.